This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
The world, but nothing in my mind compares with the magnificence of the Scottish landscape. It can be rugged, angry and desolate, but in its ever-changing light, it's always majestic. Even now, sitting in our home overlooking Lake Geneva, I can still close my eyes, taste the air, and once again see the view from the slopes of Ben Dhu, across Loch Lomond, across the islands of Infad, Inchcailloch, Inchmurn and Inchconachan, to the village of Rowerdennan and the majesty of Ben Lomond on the eastern shore. For the greater part of my childhood, I was fortunate that both my paternal and maternal grandparents lived within 3 miles of each other. My mother's parents, John and Jean Young, farmed at a place called Castle Hill, near Eaglesham, which hit the headlines in May 1941 when the deputy leader of Nazi Germany, Rudolf Hess, suddenly dropped out of the sky in an audacious attempt to broker a peace deal. He was confronted by David MacLean, a ploughman and neighbour of my grandparents, with a pitchfork, and was taken away to prison. The level of local excitement was unprecedented. My parents worked hard, and my father's courageous vision of a garage at Dumbuck gradually developed into a successful business. Their first son, Jim, was born in 1931, and on the 11th of June 1939, almost as an afterthought, a second son arrived and was christened John Young Stewart, taking the middle name of my mother's side of the family, but everybody called me Jackie. So this typical Scottish family lived contently on the outskirts of a typical Scottish town in central Scotland called Dumbarton. It stood at a spot where the River Clyde narrowed, and it has been an important place in the history of Scotland. The castle has long been a strategic importance, and I remember how they put out nets during the war to make sure that no German submarines could make their way up the river. Music was an important part of our family's life. We had an upright Bechstein piano in our sitting room, which my mother played. My father played the fiddle, and a series of well-known visiting singers and musicians used to rehearse in our home before performing concerts at the Dumbarton Choral Society or a venue like the Borough Hall in town. I recall sitting in a corner and listening to stars like Owen Brannigan and Joan Alexander, and the great Robert Wilson, the voice of Scotland, who sang popular songs like Bonnie Strathire. And when these great people stopped for a break, I would run in and ask if I could get them to sign my autograph book, which soon became the most cherished possession of my boyhood. Brought up in a family that ran a garage with an Austin dealership, it was perhaps inevitable that I should start to drive at a relatively early age, and I was only 9 years of age when I first placed a 2-gallon petrol can on the driver's seat of a dark blue Austin 16 and clambered into position. Sadly, for me, however, as a 9-year-old boy, feeling good about myself and my place in the world was quite unusual. It was a Monday morning in the autumn of 1948 in the primary school of the Dumbarton Academy. "All right, Jackie, it's your turn," the teacher said. "For what, miss?" "For reading, of course. Come up here." I kept staring at the page, now desperately wanting to find words that I recognised, sentences that I could understand. Instead, there was just a mass of letters that meant nothing to me. "Stop playing the fool," the teacher said, now getting angry. "Hurry up and start reading." "I can't," I mumbled. "Stuart, you're stupid. A lazy boy. Get back to your desk." I walked back to my place, with most of my classmates laughing out loud. I can't exaggerate the pain.